Hello, Jules, and thank you for joining us. Um, Welcome back to the Climate Solutions News podcast. First of all, let's just start by explaining what is SUBLIME Énergie and what problem is it you're trying to solve. And perhaps while you're doing that, can you also give us a bit of detail about your own personal background and how
Yeah,
you ended up with the company?
of course. So I'm Jules. I studied in the French school we call Sciences Po, like political sciences, and I developed a passion for the major European strategy about industry and renewable energetical strategies, like by comparing French strategy between and German strategy. So it was natural for me to join a company who try to be part of the energetical revolution. I am mostly responsible of public affairs and also a relationship between farmers and with all the local collectivities. So that's what
Very
I am doing since 2 years now.
great. And give us a bit of detail about the company, SUBLIME Énergie. What does
Yeah.
the company do?
Our company, I think we can say that we are trying to make on-farm anaerobic digestion more accessible to all farmers. I think it's the best way to resume what we do. So we are developing new technology. Um, I will explain it after, but by liquefying biogas. But the main goal is to to make an anaerobic digestion on a farm and with manures and to be sure that the farmers can be self-sufficient on farm.
And is this a problem that a lot of farms face with there not being the right technology in place, or is it a very expensive process? What's the issue?
Exactly. For now, we have there are two systems in anaerobic digestion. You know it. There is cogeneration, but the cogeneration is not the best system if we speak about energy because we lost a lot in heat and we don't use it as much as possible. So French state and all the French and all the European states want to stop cogeneration. And now we are more like in a biomethane injection grid time, but it's really expensive because you need only for treatment, only to separate biomethane and bio CO2. You need 1 billion euros only to separate this. So on farm. So our goal is to mutualize all the equipment from separation.
And just to explain the grid, so there is a grid that exists to capture biomethane from all different parts of France, and does that extend across Europe as well? But the access is difficult for individual farmers to get. That's the crux of the problem?
Exactly, because actually in France we have a grid. We can't say the opposite, but still, most of the farms are far from the grid, and it's like 100,000 euros by kilometers of grid. So we can also discuss about um, for ecological reason in 2050 we want to put 0% of fossil gas on the network. So do we have to do like to make big investments in the grid while we will not be able to use it in 24 years. So it's expensive and also maybe not the best way the best place to make our investment.
And you talk about your company's operations being similar to the way that milk producers gather milk from farms. So, you work as a cooperative and you go around to collect the product, and then centralize it and then manage the processing centrally. Is that right?
Yes, totally. Because we call it the milkman rod. First of all, it's how farmers we were looking for technology. Um, we was matching with this idea of milkman to avoid the grid. So because we are liquefying the biogas, all the biogas, I mean biomethane and bio CO2 together at the same time, uh, we are going to collect it by trucks in a tank. So like every 3 days, I think. So it's look like the milkman rod exactly, and because of this technology, we don't need the gas network. We can just liquefy on a farm. We collect it and we put it on a hub, and in this hub, it's like one hub for 10 farms. 10 farms at like 50 or 60 kilometers around the hub. Uh, yes, and we in the hub we are going to separate biomethane, bio CO2, and our carrier agent, because that's the things that is our secret, protected secrets. We dissolve the biogas, biomethane, and bio CO2 in a carrier agent to make it stable, because when you go down in temperature and you go up in pressure to liquefy the biomethane, the bio CO2 becomes solid, it crystallizes. So it was not possible to transport it. Because of our carrier agent, we can stabilize the mix. And so we got three molecules: biomethane, bio CO2, and the carrier agent. We need to separate both of the three.
Very good. And talk about the environmental benefits of what you're doing, to help the farmers get rid of the waste.
Yeah, exactly. The first things in anaerobic digestions is to deal with manure and to receive all the emissions from the methane, of course. But then there is too much energy on the farm. There is too much methane than the farmers need. So we want to pick to bring the energy where we need from from where we've got it. So we liquefy biogas. So we got after it liquid CO2, liquid bio CO2, and liquid biomethane. The liquid biomethane is real opportunity. It's to decarbonize the heavy mobility, the maritime and agricultural machines too, because when you got biomethane liquid, you got a much more densify energy. So you can even put it in to be a good fuel uh, for heavy duty marines and agricultural engines. So we will also use the liquid bio CO2, and it's not a small things to say it, because most of the anaerobic digestion plants don't do anything with the bio CO2, because it's also a cost. And because we mutualize in a hub, we have a sufficient quantity of bio CO2 to bring a logistic and to use it. I don't have the English term, but to in a fertilization too, for the tomatoes and stuff like this. In the big
In the greenhouses.
exactly greenhouses.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, and also we never have to forget it. But in anaerobic digestion, there is also the digestate. So um, the solid rest from the biogas. And if you are doing an anaerobic digestion on a farm, you can also be sure that the digester will stay in farm and not be export where it can't be because there is some rules to use it locally. So
Good. And you've recently commissioned your first on-farm demonstrator, Charlie, in Brittany.
actually,
So firstly, why Charlie? Why is it called Charlie? And more importantly, what does that mean for the company and for the
okay,
rollout of the technology?
yes. Charlie, because the two first one were Alpha and Bravo. This one is Charlie, so the next one will be Delta. Uh, I think it's like a cultural, industrial things from my boss, actually, uh, a reflex to call it like that. But I like actually the Charlie's name. What does it mean for us? We already had technical success by liquefying biogas and about this cryogenic distillation to separate biomethane BS2, but only in the laboratory. So because of Charlie, we are going to liquefy directly on farm, so with real biogas. So this is a scale up, obviously, for us. Not the last one because we don't have the 10 farms for now, which we are doing everything on farm. But yes, we did a great events 2 weeks ago to celebrate the startup of Charlie. So yes, it's a real news for us.
And it's on a cattle farm in Brittany. Is this a cheese producing farm, or is
No,
that the
no, it's like it's more like pigs farms.
okay? And what does the scale up for Sublime look like after beyond Charlie, both in France and across the rest of Europe?
Yeah. In the same territory, we will doing like in 2 years our first industrial and commercial project. It's the end of the scale up with the Delta project I was mentioning just before, with 10 farms, and also the farm where we are now with Charlie. The farm will also be part of the project. To do efficiently the milkman run and with a hub to mutualize the biogas distillation cryogenic. So it's going to be our next step, and then uh, we can prove that all the model is working, so we can do it all around France and Europe after.
And in terms of the infrastructure for biogas in particular, is France more advanced than other countries in Europe in terms of that sort of centralized infrastructure, or how does it compare with other places?
Uh, hmm, it's a good question. I think France um, is doing a great work about biomethane injection grid, actually. But talking about mutualization and talking about bringing all the biomass and biogas potential too far from the grid, I think we have a lot of things to do. And actually, in Germany, there are a lot of cogeneration plants who are looking for new solution. So um, because they can't do only biomethane injection grid. So I don't really know, but about mutualization, but only speaking about potential. I think the next country we were seeing as the most in advance in Europe, it's Spain actually. So Spain will definitely be a leader of biomethane and biogas uh, plant in few years.
Good. And do you think there's a need for more regulation and sort of more incentives for farmers to get involved in this type of scheme? What is the role of government here to expand the market and to make use of the resources?
I think there are like two kind of things that we need from the governments in the downstream markets, and like we need first to have a clear market to sell our bio-LNG at a good price. And when I'm saying a good price, it's just at a fair price. Like, of course, there is a cost to produce bio-LNG if we compare it to fossil LNG. So we have now we are now like at the end of the discussion with the state for new rules for the next years. It's called ERIC, quite technical, but it's an incitations to reduce the carbon intensity in the fuel, to incite all the energy sellers to incorporate as much as possible renewable energy, and also to avoid penalties about carbon intensity. So because of these new rules, and it was a kind of fight. We also participate on it to make sure that the bio-LNG have a great place, and also to make sure that the reduce the objective of reduction from carbon intensity are as much the highest. So because of these rules, we will be able to speak to an investor, to a farmer too, because he need to be sure that we have good price on the market to invest and to go with us, even if he don't need invest because we mutualize. So yes, I think it's a great first rules, but there is a second public affairs work, I think, and the regulatory things to deal with the states to decide now what is our vision for the tomorrow agriculture and for the anaerobic on farm. Do we want farm to be self-sufficient with the manures and all the all these things they don't need to feed, because we are saying for now the farms becoming more and more big in France, and not only in France, in Europe actually, and all around the world. But if we want the anaerobic digestion serve a more responsible agriculture, I really do think that we need a regulation to say that the manures is more how can I say, there are more benefits to valorize to use manures than cultures, to not put in competitions energy productions and food security. I
Yeah,
the
exactly. I mean, I was going to say the situation in the Strait of Hormuz must be, it's making clear to governments just the, reliance on imports of things like fertilizer,
yeah, yes,
obviously, the fuels. And when you look at a solution like yours, which shows that actually so much energy can be produced
mm,
as a byproduct
yeah,
of the farming process, it makes complete sense to invest and to incentivize
yeah,
more and more farmers and businesses to go
yeah.
down that route.
There was like a French former agricultural minister in our event 2 weeks ago for Charlie, and he just say exactly that. He say, um, I prefer to be dependent of the Bay of Saint-Brieuc is where we are going to produce our bioenergy than from the Hormuz Strait. So yeah, exactly.
And how quickly could your type of technology and service scale if the money were there? Could you roll out very quickly?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
How scalable is what you're doing if money were made available at great to a great extent by the government, for example, how quickly could you roll out to improve that energy security and to really start to get very widespread benefits from the farms?
Yeah. Um, we still have some technological things to secure in Chile, and when when we will be able to industrialize the processes, I think the potential is very huge. We have like even in France, there are like 26 terawatt-hours of biomethane you can't put it on the grid. So I think we are, for now, we just have objective for the next 5 years. But if we are speaking for 2050, uh, we will be able to have like more 1,000 projects in Europe, I think.
Very good. Well, good luck with the development of it.
Thank
Jules
you very
Vasse from SUBLIME Énergie, congratulations on Charlie, and I hope that Delta follows very soon. And thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.